Hi everyone, this is David Summerfleck. I am the very proud owner of Sudden Impact Web Design, online at suddenimpactwebdesign.com. And in this particular video, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to briefly touch on the subject matter of price. Um, how much is a website is a very common question, and I'm sure it's something that a lot of people don't know about. It's something certainly that I hear from people probably on a daily basis, if not once a day. Then it'll go a couple of days and I'll be asked several times in one day. And it's a fair question. Um, how do you budget for a website? Why do the prices seem to vary? And what's that all about? And why are there websites for free? What's the deal? Well, here's the deal. You can go to services, basically, they are services. You have services such as Wix and Weebly and Squarespace, and they spend millions on advertising. Even Google has a free website template generator. And basically, here's the thing. Why are they offering you a free website? Well, what they're giving you basically is they're saying, here is a list of templates that we'll give you. We'll give you these for free. Now, you type in the content, whatever you want, and you have this template, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to get a domain name, you're going to pay for that. If you want us to take the ads away so your site looks more professional, you will pay for that. If you want professional hosting where you can do whatever you want and say whatever you want without fear of your site being deleted, then you'll pay extra for that. And what happens is that, and I'm sure you're seeing this coming, what happens is that they end up making so much money from all this nickel and diming that it ultimately is going to cost you as much, if not more, than what it would cost you to just hire a professional and do everything above board and get everything done the way that you would prefer the first time. There is no business, to my knowledge, anywhere that has a free website. You know, I can't think of a single business on the planet today that has a free website or a free website template generator type of service. They may have started out like that at some point and then ended up paying thousands of dollars to get out of a contract or rehiring someone or what have you. But I don't know of any business that has a free template generator type of service. And I'll just tell you a quick story. When I first started Sudden Impact Web Design, I did not have my first client yet. I just knew what I loved to do, and I knew that I was good at it. And so basically I went to a free template generator type of service company, and long story short, the site was up and running, and I went to go meet with a potential client, and guess what happened? There's no site. Now, I never received an email notifying me of this. I certainly did not get a phone call, and by law they're not required to give you one. I was never told why the site was removed, or really it was deleted. I was never told why, and it could be that a competitor didn't like what I was doing. It could be that someone thought my content was similar to theirs. It could have been any number of reasons. I'll never know because they never told me. And again, they're not required by law to tell you. So if you have a free website on a free template generator type of service, you could wake up one morning and it could be gone. It could be covered with ads on any page that they want. Remember, you're getting something for free from them. So that's basically how that works. A free type of template service is good for a church group, maybe. If you want to have wedding pictures or something like that, or a local club, and you don't care if you have a template and it's covered with ads. You're not going to write anything controversial. It's not a business where a competitor could shut you down, or you care about appearances, where an ad might not look appropriate or professional. Um, so if those things are okay with you, then that's where you would go in that type of direction. So how much does a website cost? Typically, you don't want to just have a website. Anybody can go get an online electronic brochure. Ideally, you want to have a website that has a high ranking in Google searches so you can be found in searches, right? I mean, if you're found at the top of Google searches, then you're going to get more business. This is why people spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to advertise on Google. This is why they're number one in the world. So you want to have a website that has some search engine optimization or SEO, and someone who knows about Google Analytics and cares about that and asks you about it. If you say, well, I don't care about SEO, well, you do if you want to get customers. Let's put it that way. You want to be found in searches. You don't want your competitor to be found at the top. You want to be there. And if you don't care, then nobody's going to find your site. So you want to have a mobile responsive website, just like Sudden Impact Web Design is. You want to have a website that will work on all different types of browsers and smartphones and tablets. You want to have SEO. You want it to be tied into social media. You may need help writing copy or content. You see here I have an introduction where I talk about my experiences, how I became a web developer, and my background in teaching and training. Maybe you don't care about that stuff, but you may need help writing the content for your website. It's a big issue for a lot of people. Just not having the content, not knowing where to begin. So you may need help with that. You can't expect someone to do that for you for free. So, a copywriter on the lowest end of the spectrum in America works for $50 an hour at the very lowest level. A web developer on the lowest end of the spectrum will work for maybe $30 to $50 an hour. So if you want a professional website that's going to have SEO programmed into each page, you're going to have someone have some care and ask you about your business and really try to help you target your SEO terminology. You want preferably someone with a business background, like myself, who's worked for several businesses, but also who's run several businesses and worked as a journalist and a copywriter and a marketer. So you want someone who has some experience helping businesses get found and who cares about SEO. You may want to have e-commerce. What's e-commerce? That's selling items online or taking payment for services online. And so you may want that. So typically you want a budget. If we look at web design as an ongoing process, as a form of marketing, but doing it online, which is what it is. If you put an ad in your local newspaper, they will tell you you won't get much if you don't put an ad in our newspaper for several months. They have a point. So they'll say, well, that's called a campaign. So you want to put an ad in the newspaper for several months. How much would that cost? Well, on the low end of the spectrum, usually $1,200, $1,500, something like that, so that you get referrals and leads and customers. Most businesses are willing to pay $1,500 if it's going to get them 10 new leads a day, right? So, and then if you advertise on a radio station, it'll be a little bit more because the reach is more. And if you advertise on television, it'll be much, much more. And then somewhere in the middle there, is Google AdWords, where you would have a website, have SEO, and then advertise on Google in their AdWords campaign, where the ads would be listed at the top of Google search results. And that probably costs around the same as putting an ad on a radio station for several months. So you want to kind of look at it as that. So if you want to put an ad in a local newspaper for several months, on the low end of the spectrum, probably $1,500 to start off. Radio station reaches more people, probably costs double that. TV will reach even more people, but then it'll probably be double that. So you want to market for a level of professionalism. And when you look at internet marketing, you're looking at a website that engages SEO, marketing, social media, copywriting, working with a trusted partner. So it's an ongoing effort. It's not a one-shot deal, which most people think it is. And that's why most people have websites that have no SEO at all, and it doesn't do anything to help them. So on the low end of the spectrum, you want to budget around $1,200–1,500 to get something of benefit, where the web developer is a professional, has experience in marketing, in advertising, and takes a vested interest in you, your business, in seeing you succeed and partnering with you. It's hard for any business professional to really give you their best when they're being paid on the very low end of the spectrum. And any developer who's honest will tell you, for a lowball price, he or she is not going to go all out and really dedicate themselves to your project. They're just going to want to get it done quickly so they can move on to a higher paying project that will help them pay their bills. So the low end of the spectrum, $1,200, $1,500. The high end of the spectrum, usually double that. And for a company such as Netflix or Hulu, you're talking much more, because you need teams of people, teams of different programmers to be working not just on the website and then it's done, but on an ongoing daily basis to keep it up and running. So there's a lot of people who have ideas for projects, like the next eBay, or a newspaper, an online newspaper, an online magazine. And the thing to remember with that is these are ongoing processes. No one can create something like that and it's done. It's an ongoing process. And you need staff to update the site on a daily basis, to monitor it, to track visitors, and really give you your returns on investment. So on the low end of the spectrum, $1,200, $1,500. Double that is probably more typical in larger cities such as New York and LA. I don't know what they would charge there, but I can't imagine that any agency would take a project seriously for less than $5,000. Probably for an agency it's more like $20,000, because they have overhead. They have employees that they have to pay, the benefits, overhead, they have to pay to rent an office space. So these are all things to consider. And obviously you want someone who's more professional, who's going to take a concern in your business and become a partner with you and really help you build that business so that you're getting more leads, more referrals, more phone calls on a daily basis. For example, if I take sudden impact web design and do nothing at all, I'm going to get anywhere from 30 to 50 visits per day if I do nothing at all. Now I can log in, I can track those results and see who came from what referring site, what pages did they look at. I can get email addresses, I can get IP addresses, so I can get in touch with visitors if I want to. And I like to kind of let people look around, and if they don't contact me, I don't contact them. But a lot of businesses, they want to know, and that's their prerogative. So there's marketing automation that can track visitors, how long they stay on each page, what do they look at, They can even show you animations of what each person looked at for how long. And for a lot of businesses, it's a very, very important, valuable data. And so that may be something you'd be interested in. So the bottom line is you get what you pay for. And the depth of service and level of professionalism doesn't come at a low-ball cheap price. Trying to get a professional website for 500 or less than 500 is really not reasonable. You really won't get professional level results in most cases unless it's very, very, very basic and has no SEO, and there's no one checking the site or updating it for security or malware plugins. So that's not a good thing because typically they don't last very long. So you really want to budget for doing things right the first time. Having to create a website and then redo it is always going to cost more in the long run than it would just doing it right the first time. So set aside a realistic budget. Think about what it is you want to do. Think about your long-term projected strategies, who you want to reach, and look at a web developer as a partner who can help you get more leads and more referrals and build your business on an ongoing basis. And you won't go wrong if you look at it like that. So I hope that helps clarify the question of how much is a website. And again, this is David Sommerfleck at Sudden Impact Web Design. If you have questions that you would like answered in a video or podcast or even a blog post, give me a call, 720-468-0472. And if you'd like to work together and partner with us, visit us online at suddenimpactwebdesign.com. And we always are open to partnering with new businesses. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that this helped clarify that question. So have a good night.